All caps, mga Atenista, it's time to level up. Your top variety program showcasing the best in media and other fields. As we feature the most loved personalities and the best practices of what we truly refer to as Magis. Together with multi-awarded multimedia guru Mr. Noel Ferrer, let's all level up every Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM. Good morning, Ateneo. Start your day right with your morning wake-up call. Good morning, Ateneo. Energize your day with the lively, funny, and lovely tandem of Mir de los Santos and Tats Kidlat. Catch the latest news and stories around the campus. Good morning, Ateneo! Your daily dose of radio chikahan, tawanan, kantahan, and kwentuhan. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Tuesdays to Fridays. Good morning, Ateneo! Your mornings will never be the same again.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Sa The Blue Eagle kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng kwela. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugod, todo sa kayon, tulong at tulong. Lipat na Blue Eagle, galing giting nagigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan.
Join Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as he delivers to us the preachings of the Sunday's Gospel that's awe-inspiring, yet easy to understand and appreciate. Let us all listen to the Word of God here on The Word Exposed on Air, only on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Rejoice, refresh, renew, and reflect. Join us for an hour of music that uplifts the soul. Listen to your favorite Jesuit music ministry artists. This is JMM Radio. Get your day's dose of inspirational music. Tune in to JMM Radio every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Tara na't simulan ng inyong umaga sa mga magagandang refleksyon tungkol sa ating buhay at pananampalataya. Kasama sina Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle ng Manila, Father J. Boy Gonzales at Father Nono Alfonso ng Kapisanan ni Jesus, Father Cali Llamado ng Manila Cathedral, at Binibining Risa Singson Kaupeng ng Light of Jesus Community dito sa Kapit Pandasal sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. The Jesuit Hour. Get to know the Jesuits. Discover their spirituality, their history, their ministries. The Jesuit Hour. Anything Jesuit, everything Jesuit. The Jesuit Hour.
Receive, O Lord, Lend me your ear.
Do you long for a good spiritual read? Or for literature that not only feeds the mind, but nourishes the soul as well? Do you want to be inspired, feel positive and hopeful about life? Then read The Wind Hover, the official magazine of the Jesuits in the Philippines. Written by Jesuits and their lay partners, The Wind Hover features real stories about the Jesuits and their various ministries. Be inspired. Be blessed. Subscribe to The Wind Hover. For inquiries, call the Philippine Jesuit Aid Association at telephone numbers 426-6001, locals 4890 or 4892. Once again, Philippine Jesuit Aid Association, telephone numbers 426-6001, locals 4890 or 4892.
Kaibigan, alam mo na ba kung anong dapat gawin upang iwasan at sugpuin ang COVID-19? Iwasang hawakan ang bibig, mata at ilong. Laging maghugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig sa loob ng 20 segundo. Linisin ang mga bagay na palaging hinahawakan. Kumain ng balanse at masusustansyang pagkain. Matulog ng sapat, huwag magpupuyat. Stay home. Sa wastong pag-iingat, ang virus hindi kakalat. COVID-19, kayang-kaya nating tapusin.
We are now on YouTube. Watch all of our live episodes plus exclusive content in our channel at radyo-katipunan FM. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit the bell to get the latest updates. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibigpida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugo. Todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiding at tigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
If it's entertainment you crave,
Catch us on
New Wave. Surfing through the latest on our shores.
every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m.
See you there. Hello everyone, good afternoon. It's your midweek gang who's always ready to hang, coming at you live through Radio Katipunan 87.9 FM via Zoom. I'm Max, Austin is off getting vaccinated, and this is New Wave. Joining me today, she's already started laughing, is my sister in Radio Katipunan, B. Hi B, show yourself.
Max. I'm here. I made it. I was almost late. I had to jump out from another thing. But yeah, I'm still here. I'm here now. So thanks for inviting me to be here. Austin, dalawa na utang mo sa akin. I'm kidding.
Thank you for being here.
Of course,
you can ask him for coffee later.
Wink, wink. All right. Sige, of course, I'm happy to be here. So let's do this, Max. Bago muna tayo tumawag. Off air.
Yes. All right. I hope your Zoom background stays the same. But
Yes.
anyway, let's go straight into our local finds for the day, which is Riley's edible seeds, nuts, and berries. So to talk about that today is my good friend from 4ABIS and my carpool mate, Jacob Publico.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
Jacob. How are
Hi,
you?
Jacob.
Doing great, everyone. How are you guys?
We're good.
All right. Okay, so thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to actually share our business. I'm really excited to be able to talk about this on air. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for being here. So tell us, what is Riley's? And can you also tell us who Riley is?
Okay, so let me just answer first the first question. So Riley's, as what you mentioned earlier, it's a business that sells and provides various edible seeds, nuts, and dried berries and fruit. So the business actually started last year of April at the height of the pandemic. So at one point, it was just a mere grabbing of an opportunity because we noticed that the market didn't have much businesses that sell these kinds of products. It was very niche that time. So when we got the opportunity, we thought of starting that trend. So in Riley's, we provide, yes, a variety of nuts, seeds, and berries, and it's over a variety of 48 different products and counting. So it's a lot, really like a lot of products that we provide in our business. So through our business, we advocate turning healthy snacking into something that is fun and also affordable without compromising quality. So who is Riley's, you might ask? Unfortunately, I don't have it like here with me, but Riley is actually our dog. So yeah, he's a white Shih Tzu. Yeah, really cute dog. So if you're wondering what he looks like, you can just scroll down our Facebook page and you'll find him there. But anyway, we decided to name our business after him because Riley is such a huge ball of joy to our family, and we wanted to share this kind of joy to our customers and to the people we serve. And we wanted Riley to be more than just a mascot, but we wanted to become our identity of as a business. So yeah, so that answers the question of who Riley is. So Riley is rather. So surprise.
Nice. You know what, Jacob?
Right.
You're with your people because we're both dog people.
Oh, dogs. Oh.
So like, okay, let's not talk about dogs now. Later na again off air. But okay, so I am a big advocate of for healthy living, healthy snacks. And this I so support your business, and it's good that you're making it accessible and making it affordable, as you mentioned. Just wondering, because out of the many flavors and varieties that you have, like what types of nuts or seeds or berries do you have? Like, can you just give us like a few examples of it, so like to get people interested?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just gonna give like a few examples because not all of them are as popular as the others. So so let's start with the nuts. So in the nuts, we have split cashews, we have walnuts, we have roasted salted pistachios. Ooh, the very good ones. We have also macadamias and a lot of nuts. So later on, if we show the Facebook page, you can also scan through it, and it's pinned demand at the top of the page, the menu. So for seeds, we also have chia seeds, flax seeds, we have sesame seeds, and a lot more. For dried berries, we have of course the raisins, and we have also dried cranberries, dried blueberries, and a lot more. So I said earlier, there's 48 different varieties. So there's a lot to choose from if you want to order from our business also.
That's nice. So do you have like kunyari pure like china and then all blueberries and then all or all of these like mixtures of different varieties? Or do you also sell like per pack?
We sell both actually. We sell per pack. So we sell in a kilo, a half kilo, or 250 grams of these different nuts, seeds, and berries. At the same time, we also sell trail mixes. Right now, our bestseller actually are trail mixes. So we named them after 3 values: love, faith, hope. So it's just to give a bit of good vibes amidst the pandemic. So yeah, it's a different combination of these nuts, seeds, and berries. So yeah, different flavor, different variety and combinations, as I said earlier.
It's beautiful. And these are all like cooked. Would you say cooked? Do you cook berries?
Yeah, I was
Cooked or
wondering
raw?
the same thing. Like, especially for the nuts. Like, I remember last year you made cuento that the nuts were all raw. So they were more used for like baking, or if you wanted to snack on them, you could cook them yourself. But what about now? Do you have cooked options?
Yes, we have roast options actually. So we also offer roasted split cashews and also roasted almonds. So in terms of cooking, we actually roast them. So we roast almonds and cashews. But for berries, we don't actually cook berries. But you can, in your own discretion, maybe at your own house, you can decide to cook your own berries, if that works. Yeah.
But I think they're better raw talaga, the purest form. And yeah, okay, that's correct ourselves. Not cook, it's roast. The not
Roast, yes.
we do not cook it. We roast them. But you can also, I think, include them in your cooking because there are like pasta for like a Charlie Chan recipe, diba? You put in
yes.
the nuts for extra crunch and things like that. Great, it's beautiful. And I like the faithful and love mixes that you have. Cool. Okay.
And of course, I really like how Riley is your dog and you want to spread the happiness with Riley. Like that's so cute. All right. So thank you, Jacob. Where can we find you? Please drop all of your socials.
All right, so you can find us in our social media page. We have a Facebook page. You can visit www.facebook.com/RileysNuts, etc.ph. So you easily find it because it's the logo that says Riley's Nuts, Seeds, Nuts, and ito pa. And you can also find us on Instagram with the handle Riley's Nuts and Others. And also we also have a Shopee account. Just input rileys.ph and we sell pretty much the same products there. So yeah, you can find us there.
All right. That's great. So please drop your links in the Facebook comment section so that more people know where to find you. All right. And speaking of Shopee, tomorrow's payday. And if you guys want 15% off cashback, you can use my code 715Maxine. Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you very much, guys.
Visit your
Thank you,
page.
Jacob.
Awesome. Let's give them a follow, guys. Ang
For
galing.
sure. Yeah, it's a
Right.
really good idea. All right. So speaking of roasting, I think there's someone else we want to roast today. Am I right, B?
Oh no. Are we gonna do that? Baka mag-end of friendship kami bigla.
All right.
All right, sige. Why don't you introduce our guest or our victim for this afternoon?
Okay. Our guest. Let's use the word guest. So
Okay, we're friendly
joining
here.
us today is someone who I looked up to when I was in high school. Later on, he became my professor in Ateneo in my freshman year. So he's a spoken word poet from Words Anonymous. Ateneans know him as a Formator from OSCE. And this year, they will meet him as an incoming philosophy professor. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Serge Gabriel. Hi, Sir Serge. You're still muted.
Hi,
Okay, joke
Serge.
there.
Hi.
There you
Oh,
are.
I didn't know
That's
that
better.
high school thing. My gosh, hindi mo na sinabi sa akin.
Sir, remember, I came up to you with my book.
Oh,
Grabe maka-age,
shucks. Oh my
grabe
God.
maka-age reveal to si Max sa high school drama.
Gosh. Oh, goodness.
Well, anyway.
Roasting talaga. Oh, God. Okay, sige.
No, don't worry. Don't worry.
We'll behave naman. We're good girls.
Ask B to change your Zoom background and she'll be fine. Promise. All right. So, sir, how are you and how have you been this quarantine?
I've been good naman. I think we were just talking about this off air. I hope more people are getting vaccinated in your areas also. Gosh. And I hope that means we can all get to see each other much sooner than later. Hopefully next week, B, and magkita na tayo.
Please.
Oh my God.
Please. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God. I want to see that condo
Yes.
clean.
It's so clean now. Gusto ko ng tour later na.
But good. Gosh, happy this
Yeah.
online school year is done. Hopefully, we're all a little bit closer to being on campus again soon. But talaga siya.
For sure. Exactly. I
Yeah.
think we were talking about this off air also. Like, you asked us, would you rather be a freshie who started college online or a senior graduating online? What would your answer for that? What would it have been?
Ako, I think with the assurance na I'll get to graduate with the people I got to meet, maybe I'll take incoming as a first year. But I can't really talk about the experience. Obviously, I can't ask you because you're a senior graduating.
Wala kang choice.
Yes.
Hopefully,
Choice was made
face-to-face
for
na grad.
me.
I'll keep my fingers crossed.
But would have you wanted that, Max?
Of
To
course, I
start
would have
here?
Well, of course, I would have wanted to start and finish on campus
Of
because,
course.
like, a lot of the college experience is really being there. And, like, one reason why a lot of our friendships in college are so solid is because of the things we go through together on campus. Like, let's be real here, suffering together during exams,
Mm-hmm.
running from Bell to CTC together and making it on time. Like, that all really adds to it. And then now,
Mm-hmm.
those in betweens aren't there anymore because when you're jumping from one Zoom class to another, you're just
Right.
speaking codes. You're not
Yep.
physically running. So,
Mm. May solusyon ako dyan, Max. Mag-masters ka na agad. After the pandemic. Oo, so hiyain mo yung blockers mo. Mag-masters ka na so that you get to experience that.
much to consider, much to consider. But okay, back to Sir Serge. We're going to start by talking about your spoken word poetry. And as always, we're going to ask you to start from the very beginning. So, how did you start getting into spoken word poetry? Or did you start by writing poems and then it kind of just grew into reciting them?
Yeah, definitely that second one.
Oh,
Maybe, and
okay.
you can just smile if you've heard all of this before.
So actually, this is very interesting kasi ang tagal na naming friends si Serge, but I don't think I've ever asked him the
God.
history. So this is also like something new to
Yeah.
me. Test of friendship ba bigla? Bigla ka na
Gosh.
pa-check your homework feels. Sige, Serge, please do
Sige,
share
sige.
your story.
Well, the simple answer is, I've loved writing for as long as I can remember. Talaga. I grew up with a dad who's a writer. So, I find it really funny because yung mom ko naman, she's super active. She's a theater org niya when she was in college. So you have my dad who's the quiet writer, and then my mom who's like the college theater actress put together. So, ayun, I do feel like it's influences from both of them. You have this very, very, very articulate woman running the household, and then you have this very, very quiet guy who's always just in his corner writing a lot of things also. He does that a lot until now, probably. Dad, if you're watching this, like, sorry, nalaglag kita. That's a big, big, big part of it. I started with writing poetry lang on my notebooks when I was in grade school. I honestly remember it was one of my favorite things to do kasi I think anybody who's friends with me knows I super love sports. But that was not the case in grade school tsaka high school talaga. Wala. When you grow up in an all-boys school, it's either you're part of like the top 10 picks for like the basketball team sa start ng intrams, or like, oh gosh, you're the last one there. So because we were one of the lasts parate, me and my super best friend, I won't say who his name is na lang. Wala. I guess I just ended up writing a lot more na lang because of it. And I fell in love with it. I super fell in love with it. The actually performing it for other people, I don't know if this counts. I can't believe I'm saying this because it's recorded, but I'm among friends naman. I think one of the first few times I actually tried reciting poetry to other people. I think the two earliest times I remember it was, one was an parang oral exam, oral test siya nung grade 6. And when I tried it, wow, sayo pala nito. And then the second one is, I can't believe I'm sharing this. I would read like some of the poems I really, really like sa mga crush ko when I was in high school over the telephone. Not even a cell phone, the telephone.
Wow.
Each reveal number 2.
I know, God. It's wow, gosh. Wala, diba? And I loved it. I loved it so much. And I don't know if my English teacher will ever get the chance to see this talaga. But when they taught poetry in high school and then they taught us Shakespeare at the time talaga, I was really like, wow, this is so nice. In my head, it was like, you can actually get people to like you because of the way you write and the way you speak. Like,
Nice.
oh, like my mind super blew when I found out na what girls only don't find people with just abs or sports attractive. When you grow up in that kind of environment, that's like world shattering in high school.
Alright.
It was a very different time back then. Pero
It
sobrang
actually
galing.
was. I can probably attest to that. But okay, sige, just wondering, no. Kasi we grew up actually siguro pecho-ish, magka-batch din yan. And then we knew poetry delivered na medyo sing-song type. Kasi ganyan yung, when we grew up like in elementary, we would have pieces and stuff and then sing-song siya. But how you deliver it is a lot different. And of course, other spoken word performers, well, when you say artist as well. So how did you get to discover that type of delivery? Na hindi siya yun the usual na parang school na same song type.
Mm-mm. You know, to relate it to like my other like love for philo, there's this philosopher who says, si Paul Ricoeur, who says, it's an accident transformed into destiny through the power of an ongoing choice. And honestly, I got into this by accident talaga. Like, the first time I actually end up performing a piece in front of an audience it was really just an intermission. Because your friend who just happened to be an organizer for a gig was like, we need an intermission that's not music. So can you just perform a poem for us because we know you write? So I tried it. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it counts as spoken word poetry, but one of the first pieces I ever remember delivering it wasn't even a poem. It was the battle speech from 300, which was my favorite movie at the time. I don't know if it's anybody else's dream to just recite like a battle speech in front of everyone and then charge. It's nice, diba?
It's very empowering. I could imagine.
Diba?
Diba?
Like, I will lead this army over here. Ayun. So when I tried that the first time, I super duper enjoyed it. I got invited to do another one naman eventually, and I guess it really really just flowed from there talaga.
Wow.
It was a mix of being able to write for as long as I remember, mixing it with like speeches I really really did, and just being around people you really want to perform it for also.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Well, that was a very different story from what I expected, actually, but it's interesting. And thank you for being so open with us about it. And actually, I see now more than ever the influences on theater now that you bring it up. And I remember there was one performance where you described spoken word poetry as the love child of theater and literature. And now seeing like what you described about your parents, like I see that more than ever.
Yeah.
So,
Gosh.
all right. Battle speeches. Wow. Okay. That's so interesting. But you said like you don't know if it counts as a spoken word poem. So to you, what does count? Like what makes a written poem different from a spoken word poem? Like are there different rules? Is there like a different rhyme scheme or rhythm to follow?
Oh gosh, that's such a loaded question.
It's okay, sir. Take your time.
You know, whenever I talk about this, no, indeed, it's such a good question talaga. And I love how my answer, it's been influenced by so many conversations with the same question also. Like to give you a specific example, one of my closest friends when I was in college was the program awardee for literature at the time. So when I talk to her about like this is what poetry is supposed to be, and she tells me that this is what poetry is supposed to be. I have a copy of her printed book here sa cabinet ko. Like it's changed so much. So and then there's this group na I get to write with every Friday night naman. And this group is super duper intimidating kasi I think more than half of them are award-winning writers and poets already. And I'm just like, I just like to read poetry. Like, I never won an award. Diba? I was like, shucks. Like, best in conduct award lang ako and these people have like 2, 3 palangkas under their name, diba? Wala, ang galing eh. So, I think if you ask people their very definition of poetry, I think if you teach it from an academic standpoint, I'm sure there's a way to be very, very technical about it. I think, like you said it earlier, rhyme scheme, meter, there's a way to be able to do these things talaga. Pero on the topic of spoken word poetry, I think when I end up asking myself the same question, do I feel like I would be more knowledgeable in saying what a spoken word poem is if I write a dissertation about it? Or do you ask somebody who's been doing it for over like 10 or 20 years? It's hard, eh? It's difficult. I think if you want I don't know if you want to call it an unintelligible answer. The answer I used to give when I was 23 years old, I have it written down sa journal ko pa, was, you know, how people describe their own music taste also. So some people have told me before, Serge, I don't like spoken word poetry kasi puro hugot lang yan. And the reality is, it's a very popular theme in it, diba? It's not to say na it's all of it, but it's a big thing. But when you ask us to look into like ano yung mga songs natin, what are our telenovelas about, what are the emerging themes also? A lot of it is romance. I don't know why we're a very, very cheesy, very, very lovey-dovey people talaga. But it's a big part of it. So when they ask me, do you think this counts as a spoken word poem or not? I honestly don't think I have the authority to be able to say what a poem is and what it is not. Because what if I'm faced with somebody who's won like 30 Palanca Awards? This is my favorite like thought experiment. I'm faced with somebody with 30 Palanca Awards. But I've done a workshop and I've done like a writing workshop with students who are in grade 4, for example. One time, it's in a public school na high school. Another one is, favorite ko to with Dr. Ricky Abad. We did like a poetry writing workshop sa Bilibid Prison. So when somebody writes out, sometimes even raps their heart out, do I have the skill or the intellect or the arrogance to say na I don't think that's a poem. I don't think I can bring myself to being able to say that eh. I think if you're able to express yourself in a way that's very, very unique to you and it allows you to share who you are, I personally think that's poetry already. I mean, when we watch people do sports, don't we say, "Oh, that's poetry in motion"? So, hey, it's a big, big question. I would love to see a conference where you have academics and writers and performers. Iba yan eh. But I guess to summarize it, I don't know how to answer that completely, but I don't know. I think you just feel it when it's a very, very good poem. If your poem if whatever you're saying makes me feel something very, very deep, wala. I think that's poetry already for me.
Nice. Okay, I would love to like see a paper on that. And you have to write it soon. No, biglang in a blush. Oh, I guess we now know what your new paper is going to be all about. But yeah, I want to jump to like what you said, that it is actually beautiful that to hear it from you. Now, what I'm getting there is that poetry is something that's alive. It's growing and it's different for each one of us, depending on sa probably context and background of the person, like hearing it or delivering it or writing it. Now, let's jump back to like you made kwento nga na something na parang you were you're part of this parang group and you get to write stuff together like that. How do you parang relate, or what is your experience actually writing your own pieces and then hearing them and then kumbaga parang being amongst your peers? I mean, I'm pretty sure that sobrang overwhelming no experience, but can you probably share with us like how was your experience being in that kind of space, and how does it affect you? I mean, does it affect your writing style and your delivery style? Like, iniisip mo na ba na parang, sorry, this parang medyo dalawa yung question dito eh. Parang, what was your experience describing it? And then, how does it affect you? Like, do you also write na parang, I am writing this because I'm thinking it has to be delivered in a certain way? Or you just write first and then think about the delivery after?
Oh, that's a good question, Shucks. I think if I compare it with like what Maxine was talking about earlier, it's imagine being in like a songwriting contest, and then all the other performers, all the other writers or the singers or songwriters, it's like, oh God, why is Ben and Ben here? Why is the company here? Why is there Junji here? Iba, gosh. I think it's very, very I cannot bring myself to think about writing poetry as something grueling. Maybe wala. Iba siya from writing like academic papers. Iba talaga siya. And to really just be around that space of people, there's a lot of nervousness, definitely. I think one of the first times I told them when I was there was like, I think I have most of your books in my bookshelf. And hindi naman sa akin sinabi na, oh my God, I didn't know puro Palangka award dito. It's really just a growing community. I think the jump of what you said be about like poetry being alive more than ever than now. I never imagined there would be spaces like these to be able to write with other people. I know the experience of having to look for a place just to be able to perform poems before or read something out loud. And now it's like a damning open mic. And to be part of a group that can actually host open mics and people go to them to perform their poetry, that's such a big thing. Iba siya eh. I never want to limit it to just people performing poetry because I think for any other artist who plays music, who draws, who writes, I think just the space to be able to share your stuff with other people who are just like, wow, okay to ah. It's nice eh. Ganun niya talaga. Like, don't you want to keep doing this because you know there are other people doing it and there are other people who want to keep on seeing it also. I think that's the point of community talaga. I hope that
Yeah,
answers the question.
it does actually. Parang it kind of relates us it brings us to another level when we can be connected. And yeah, you're right. Like the spaces now compared to before, ang dami. And now we've expanded now to online spaces.
Oo, iba siya. Like, I
Yeah.
remember nung high school, oh my God, I think the only poetry place you could find was like yung Happy Monday sa Magnet Cafe.
Oh, wow.
It's so old,
Yes.
diba?
I know.
And hello, like they would read it a little bit later. I think I only got to go to like 1. And when I'm a high school student, I can't stay past out 9 p.m. naman. Hindi naman ako papayagan sa ganyan.
Actually, yes, yes.
Sa inyo talaga.
It's funny that you mentioned Magnet Cafe kasi tambay din ako doon before. Being, my gosh. But yeah, oo nga eh. I mean, okay, speaking of online spaces, so, how is it different? I mean, what's your experience performing live, like with actual audiences? Because I always ask like or like musicians this question, like the experience of performing it with live audience and a camera.
God. I think the thing I miss the most is you get to adjust in the middle of a poem depending on who you're reciting it for.
Hmm.
Your friend ko said this super philosophical thing and I can't get it out of my head. Sabi niya, you know, you never technically recite the same poem twice or perform the same song twice because it changes
true.
depending on who you're with, di ba?
That's true.
Like the best example there I can think of is like I remember we performed for it was a fundraiser. And for some odd reason, like majority of the people there were a lot older. So we had to do the poems louder and slower. And then there was this one time we performed them for like a high school for like inclusive girls high school. So because it was like a fair type, sobrang ingay talaga. We had to shout the pieces naman. Maybe super different. So I think the thing I miss the most is being able to really just adjust with other people. If it's offline, I think the biggest one is what are the chances anyone's gonna go on cam, diba? Because usually naman, even though it's live, you're never gonna get to see the audience naman. Like what we're doing right now, diba? I'm sure there are people in the comment section, but it doesn't really feel like I'm interacting with them directly. A little bit, but not so
Mhm. Yeah, I can imagine the
Yeah.
energies, no? Mhm.
diba?
Exactly.
Sim-
That's what I was going to say. Like the energy like between performer and audience, it's always so important to a performer. But then like online, it's very different. So Serge, you were saying?
Yeah, exactly. It's a like you said, it's a conversation with other people. Eh. Whether it's performing or whether it's teaching. Like, can you imagine having to go through an intact class like online? Iba rin siya eh.
Yes.
Diba?
Actually, I wanted to get there. How is it different teaching? Since we're on the topic of performance, and in a sense, when you're teaching, it's also kind of like performing because you're in front of a crowd. They're listening to you, they're watching you, and then now from classrooms we're on Zoom. So how has teaching changed for you? Like, what's your personal experience with it?
Me? Gosh. Well, I can speak as a formator and as a teacher, having been yours for both. And the most different thing I can think of, honestly, is it's I love it when our students go on cam. It's not an easy task to ask for ask students to do that because it's hard to be motivated in this pandemic, diba? Like, I've been there in meetings as a master's student. I don't like it also going on cam some of the time. And it's a little discouraging what if you're the only student on cam and everyone else is off cam? It's like, okay, I'll turn mine off na rin also. I think if I'm comparing it to performing also, it's the same answer. Eh. I really miss having the connection and conversation with my students. It's different. It's really, really, really different. I mean, for a 1 hour class, for example, we talk for 50 minutes, or I talk for 50 minutes at least, and then some of them answer comments and then I read their answers there. But if this were a face-to-face class, just like our classes before, like immediately after the class is over, sometimes some of my students will come up to me and talk about stuff. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I miss my students asking for relationship advice. Or sometimes they tell me, "Oh, sir, my gosh, we're dating already." I miss those. Like to be wedged in or be part of your lives just a little bit more outside of the classroom. These are the things I really, really miss also. I mean, where do you get the... I don't think people answer or raise their hands in class if they don't feel like they're comfortable enough to share with their fellow classmates or their teachers also. And how do you get the chance to do that naman when a lot of people have their cams off, or it's difficult to motivate yourself in a 9 o'clock class, diba? It's hard. But keep going.
Yeah. And we're limited by emojis now.
Emojis and reacts. Like on Zoom, the corner reacts.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I call them reacticons.
Akin, this guy, my Zoom's old. They only have like thumbs up tsaka applause. I don't have the hearts or that.
Ay, pagpunta mo dito, let's tweak that.
Sige, please.
Let's fix that.
God, tech things talaga. My God.
Ayan na si Max.
There. I'm just going to flex my party popper react. I don't know if it's seen on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll give you a thumbs up for it because that's the only
There we go.
Alright. Sige, I'll give you like Korean heart na lang muna. Ang layo kasi ng screen eh.
Gosh.
But what you just said about Intact right now, it kind of reminded me how in freshman year, it was such an important class because, like you said, it's the class where we don't really talk about academics, but we more of talk about our feelings. Like, that's where we become friends, and you as the professor moderator become our friend also. And in freshman year, like a year that is pretty crucial since it's your first year, you're still feeling things out and getting used to Ateneo culture. It was so important. Like, the bonding from that class was very important to the things that happened in freshman year. And from your perspective, even if it is online, even with the challenges that off cams and slow Wi-Fi and Zoom provides, do you still think that the blocks you've handled feel that camaraderie, that clinginess?
Well, I don't think I can ever speak for my students, but I genuinely feel like I got to talk to a lot of them naman. I know individual consultations or consultations with teachers are so different when it's online. Because it's weird talaga. It's like, we're doing this online, really? Versus being able to do it in the cafeteria before where all of your friends and students are there. But I think if I answer your question with 2 points, the first one I thought of was, I don't think I ever came into this blind, because I think one thing I have in common with the first year students from last year was we entered college in a pandemic also. So in 2009, I don't know how old you were back then, but oh God, parang may AH1N1 kasi noon. So
I remember that actually.
Diba? Like our ours was 3 weeks delayed. So the only way we could ever navigate through college was really in our Intact class also. And my homeroom advisor at the time, like, I tried to pattern what I tried to do with your Intact classes after what he ended up doing with ours also. It's really a culture of being able to just make it a safe space for students to want to open up. I mean, hello, college can be intimidating, it can be scary, diba? I'm not gonna drop any names, but I remember having a student telling me na, my gosh, sir, the buildings are so big and the people are so good looking, I don't know what to do. Diba? Like, how do you process something like that in any other class, diba? Yun eh, it's a big, big thing. And the second one, in relation to being able to be close or having that clinginess with my students, I think the most concrete thing I can think of is I'm currently writing a couple of recommendation letters for some of the students I got to know this this last school year. Some of them are applying for scholarships and really, really happy for them. I don't think you would ask a teacher to give like a character profile of what kind of person you are if you don't know who you are. I don't think it's all naive because it's just eh, I don't know if you want to call it selfish. Na I feel like I enjoy more than they're enjoying. Kasi wala, it's these students let me teach them, right? And I feel like as a teacher, what more can you ask for? When they go on cam, when they listen to your stuff, when they laugh at your stories, when they react with more than just a thumbs up or the applause emoji, what more can you ask for talaga? Wala. I feel like I got to relate with a good number of them also. And well, they don't really come for relationship advice anymore. But I think the most advice is I think you know this because you come from the same course also. A lot of them ask me like about shifting advice, what courses can they try getting into also. Diba? Iba siya eh. And to be able to have an adult to be able to talk about it who aren't their guardians or their parents, I think helps also. So yun.
Yeah. Galing. So Max, alam mo na, relationship advice daw.
Hindi kita lalaglag, but you know that story.
You know, when you said like individual consultations and shifting advice, floodgate of memory, Gonzaga second floor, like it just unlocked. But yeah, let's not go into details. So a while ago, you were talking about a sense of community, and somehow that sense of community always makes the things you love even better because you get to share it with other people who are passionate and you can learn from. And you're in the poetry group Words Anonymous. So can I ask you, what brought you all together, or how were you formed?
Oh gosh. I actually have two things I share when I say that answer. The first is there really just used to be a time when it was just us performing sa Seb's Cafe together. We came up with a book together called Tuwing Ikatlong Sabado. And the reason why that's the title of the book was because every third Saturday of the month sa Seb's Cafe, like God bless you, Ma'am Ipa tsaka Sir Sev, Sir Howie, we would perform there every Saturday night. And the funniest thing was, because we were the only ones who were there every other Saturday night, it just got to a point na, why don't we just make this a group na lang? So that group was already intact before we ended up joining. Words Anonymous was made by the Angel Cruz, Abby Urbeta, M. Manese. They were formed because they kept performing together already. And then me, si Kat, si Henry, we ended up coming in a little bit later because we found out, oh my gosh, may ganito pala dito. And yun, and they ended up asking us to join the group then. Eventually, it grew, it bloomed. Suddenly, we didn't have to perform 3 to 4 times anymore. Pero no one forced us naman to do that because we wanted like, me. Diba? Wala. It really just grew and it really just bloomed into what it is now. And, yeah. And in relation to the community part, the second one is, I think we've gotten like a bunch of questions or poetry. Correct them, na it's not. This has been around a really, 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 really long time. And and I think the beautiful thing about poetry, related to B's point also, is I think when something is alive, kasi it's always going to grow and it's always going to change.
Yeah.
I think it's very serendipitous. I'm getting to talk about this on the anniversary of si Ma'am Susan Kimpo, who's a martial law survivor. And one of the things she would tell me before when I would watch her speak was they use poetry as a way to be able to rally people together. Diba? It's not just for fun, even though it's fun. a way to bring people together also.
Right.
If I think of si Sir Jet Tenorio naman, yung Filipino prof ko, he will tell you up front na yung history natin of being able to trace our history as Filipino people is really oral tradition talaga. So, it dates back so long talaga. I don't know kung social media lang siya or may nag-viral na isang piece. Wala eh. It's not. Like, Words
Yeah.
Anonymous is a group. Like, it's nice you can find us on Facebook. But honestly, like, the happiest thing I can imagine thinking is as long as the poetry community grows and more people just end up writing, I think that's the best thing ever, honestly.
Kidding. It really has grown. I mean, from like way back then. Age reveal again.
I know.
Lugi tayo dito eh. Bata, di ba?
I was going to ask you guys about that cafe you were talking about a while ago. Not Seb's, the other one, the
Magnet.
Yeah, cafe. Because I've heard things about it, but
Yep.
yes.
It's a very like intimate space. It's not. It actually doesn't feel like a cafe, like how we knew cafe. It's literally like a space. Talaga, it's the best way to describe it. And then there's a like I remember a small, very very small stage na nandun lang siya. Tas ang background mo yung Katip Road and the
Exactly.
Ateneo.
Wow.
Yun lang. That's it.
You
And then,
couldn't
like,
fit 3 people on that stage.
Sobra. As in, my God, yung mga tipo, guys, upo na lang tayo sa floor
Oo.
para
Tsaka
magkasya
may
tayo.
drum set pa yun ah. I'm like, gosh.
Yeah, I remember. And then, they actually had another branch, BGC, they opened it, pero medyo later na yun eh. I think that one has like a bigger space. Pero parang I think second floor din siya. Was it right? Kasi the bag that dito sa Katip before, second floor siya eh. So, yeah. And then I remember the walls were really white.
Same.
But yeah, buhayin natin yan, when we get back to normal.
I know.
But yeah, speaking of mga bubuhayan when we get back to normal, while we're not yet there, let's go back here muna where we are now because it's important to be present where we are now. I know you've talked about like adjusting to the pandemic na like with your teaching, with your performing. Like what about Words Anonymous? I mean, how has it adjusted to the pandemic? Do you still get to like do shows or segments or series or ano na yung mga programs ngayon ng Words Anonymous? How have you transitioned to this world that we're living in right now?
Oh gosh, I love this question. I can't get over now we're celebrating our 7th anniversary this year already. I was like, my God, ang tagal na natin. It's been so long, gosh. We usually have an anniversary show kasi around April, pero given the pandemic also, like the last 2 years we never really got to push through with it. I think the big change was really just medyo straightforward ja. We all got older din. It was much easier to do this when we were because we were so full of life. Like work wasn't as heavy as it used to be. Iba siya. So now that most of us are employed, some of us are married, some of us are hitting our cities. God, iba. So we haven't been hosting a bunch of shows recently. I think more of our programs and more of the chances we get to perform is we get to partner with different orgs. We get different invitations from different groups. I think if you want something very, very close to home, like we were supposed to have one with yung Pride para sa Sanggu. I think just recently lang last month also we did something with the Mental Health Awareness Coalition, if I'm not mistaken. Ayun. And off the top of my head, I think in the last month, we did something with the Child Labor Secretariat for the government. We did one for Millennials PH, which is for the upcoming elections naman. Ayun. We've taken a bit of a backseat when it comes to organizing, understandably, because of all the things we're busy with. But really honored now. A lot of people still want to be able to get us and partner with us. Because I think yung direct answer namin parati dyan sa email is if there's a way like whatever platform we have can further an advocacy we also believe in, then fight lang, push lang. Gosh.
Galing.
That's
Um,
nice.
it's actually nice also because the naman sa music side of things naman, when artists like talk to me and ask for advice nga, like what else to do now kasi we have like limited resources and limited like means, I guess, to like develop programs and produce things, songs or whatever ganyan. One of my go-to answers is to collaborate with other artists. And with Words Anonymous, it's really of course encouraging to know that you are also like collaborating with other advocacies and with other partners that are really doing good now. It's very relevant.
Mm-mm.
So yay. I'm
Definitely.
happy. I'm happy to hear that.
Oo.
Amazing.
And not even just not even like different groups. It's even within the same writing groups also.
Yes.
So, yun na eh. Like, I know we get to
Galing.
throw Words Anonymous out a lot also. But there are
Uh-uh.
groups like Ang Sabi Nila or Collaboratory PH. Ang dami. There's so much talent out there talaga. And and I don't know. As somebody who really, really loves sports, it never really feels like a competition with other people. It's literally, oh, let's write together. Nay, galing, galing, galing.
But like we said kanina, the togetherness, that's like really part of the fun. So you have some stands here
Mm-mm.
on in the comment section. I think your friends Louis, Julian,
Oh gosh.
Alberto
Hi,
Antonio Jr.,
Louie. Oh my God.
Oy, kondo
Joel
na yan.
Flores asking for
Albert,
shout
hello.
outs.
Oh my gosh.
Hi,
Wait, I'm gonna
Louie.
load this. Hoy, Albert. Oh, thank you for my glasses. Thank
Hello,
you, thank you.
Alberto.
Hoy, Louie, gosh. Wait, can I just like can I just say hi to Louie?
Of
Gosh,
course, go
because
ahead.
related to what you just said. Because I'm going to be I'm going to be teaching for the following school year. I've gotten so many tips from this guy talaga. Like that guy is going to be like a legendary Theo prof in the making. I'm calling it as early as right now, and I'm glad this is recorded so I can look back on it and go like, yes. Diba?
You heard
He
it
was
here
one of the
first.
people who said na this teaching thing. Na this teaching thing. There's really a performative aspect to it also. There has to be a way to be able to bond with your students and just to get them enticed with what you're saying also. So like I see you, Louie, and I love you. Thank you for being here. Gosh.
On that note, so this year you mentioned you will be a philosophy professor. So I just wanted to ask, why philosophy? It's very different from being a formator.
Mm-mm. Gosh. My simple answer to that is I took a pre-med when I was in college. And the only thing I ever wanted to do was save lives. That's why I wanted to be a doctor. And philo just happened to be that subject that really just changed and rocked my world talaga. I remember at the end of my final oral exam with my Philo 101 prof at the time, Serge Guevara. I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow. I'm super excited to talk to him. He asked me, like after I did my final oral exam, sabi niya, oh, Serge, why do you want to be a doctor ba? And I said, sir, I just really want to save lives. It's all I really, really want to do with my life. And sabi niya, he closes my oral exam, gives it to me and goes, do you have to be a doctor to be able to help people's lives or help people live?
Wait,
Serge, what
okay, he
happened?
froze. For a minute, I thought it was me who froze.
Oh, wait,
Serge,
there, am I
sorry.
okay
Okay,
now?
Take two tayo. Yeah,
okay,
you're
he's
Go,
back.
go,
back.
go.
Okay,
There,
take
there.
two, take two.
What was the last thing you said? Was it the pre-med thing?
um,
Sabi ko ba yun? No. Did it reach that? No.
yeah,
Yes, we
I
heard pre-med until do you have to be a doctor to save lives?
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So, my prof asks me that. And it really changed and rocked my world talaga. Hindi yun bola. I was like, shucks. I thought about na this is all I wanted to do, being a doctor. You know, to really just help people live also. But then when I reflected on it a lot, and when you belong to this school also, I think your teachers have a habit of really just make you question all of your life decisions then. I just thought about it again and again and again, and I thought, shucks, maybe I can be a teacher. when I graduated, I would talk to some of my old teachers also, and they told me, try going to the corporate world first, see, test the waters out there. Tried it for 3 years, and I ended up coming back to be able to teach also. But wala. So nice. What was I going to say? There was one more thing. Wait. Oh, and in relation to, is it super different to being a formator? Honestly, maybe from like a third very different things. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't think it is eh. Kasi I wrote my philo thesis on conversations with the community partners I'm with sa Cardona Rizal, with the people you got to meet sa Q Matrix, sila Ate Alma, Kuya Manny, gosh, Ate Evelyn, all of those people. And when I think to myself na, if philosophy is something only people who go to college understand, or if it's supposed to be something that makes you feel like you're a little bit higher than other people, is that a kind of philosophy I want to teach? I don't think. That's why the philo I really, really want to teach, part of it, is grounded on Filipino philosophy. I mean, we can talk about Heidegger, we can talk about Descartes, pero when you say, ang sakit ng loob ko, ang bigat na loob ko, anybody understands that. Magko-commute ka, kung bibili ka ng fish balls, they get it eh. So, that's kind of, without getting too much into the details of it, I think philo is such a wonderful, wonderful subject I really, really want to teach. Because it's really just teaching people how to be human and how to help them, or what does it even mean to live. Yung mga ganyan. Wala eh. I think we teach, or I teach, from a very specific place. Kasi I think it only makes sense when you've been taught by the best. You want to try to be the best teacher for your students. That's the simplest way I can put it.
Ganda.
That's nice. So
That's nice.
speaking of students, a student from the philosophy department just texted me now. So Amanda, hi Amanda Collantes and her mom, hi Tita Dre. They're watching now and they texted me. She wanted me to ask you what philosophy you're planning to teach, but I think you've kind of answered that already. But Amanda is actually the friend of mine who introduced me to your poems.
I remember that. Gosh, super super familiar name. Well, I'll be teaching philo. I think I'll be teaching philo 11 next year, so the sophomores. So let's see what happens. How it's gonna work.
Galing. So, ang galing na, okay, I didn't know that you did pre-med pala. And meanwhile, our friend, siya naman yung nagdo-doctor ngayon.
Diba?
Like, you guys are meant to be friends
Ako
talaga.
naman ang best friend. These are both doctors. Diba?
Yeah.
I would live vicariously through them.
Yeah, yeah. So, shout out to Albert. And
Yeah.
shout out to Pael.
Oh my God, si Pael's watching.
Pael's here din.
Hi,
Oo.
Pael. Hello. Oh my
Pael, pakita ka,
God.
please.
Oo.
Ay, that's right. Okay.
Okay, I think he froze again.
Oh
I'm
no,
being-
did I freeze again?
Oh, there. Okay,
You're back.
you're back.
I gotta fix this net. Hi, Pael. I miss you. I hope you heard that.
You guys have a lot of friends in the comment section.
Bakit ba? Parang dinigdan yung comment section. We miss you guys.
God.
The comment section looks like a mini reunion right now. Okay,
Things I miss
so
the most. Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry, go.
all right.
Okay.
Okay, so Amanda has another question. She's texting me her questions right now. She's asking, did your philo as an undergrad student affect your poetry also? She had Sir Calasanz before and noticed that some of Sir's topics were themes in a few of your poems.
Oh my goodness. 100% yes. Because si Sir Eddie Boy Calasanz, I cannot thank him enough, just ko. I remember when we took his class, it was a 7:30 a.m. class, ha? And we weren't forced to take that, as in first batch kami for our last sem in college, and we really signed up for that class. He would recite poetry sometimes in the middle. And one of my favorite Filipino poems, yung sonetong Kailan Hindi Nasulat. I think I performed that for you, B. Tsaka kay Arman when you were there that time. I got that from him. So, honestly, oo, definitely, Chucks. I don't think it's just a way of being able to recite stuff. It has to come from a particular like insight or very, very familiar place. And when your philo prof tells you na, what happens if you wake up the next day and you find out na God doesn't exist? Does your life change? I'm just like, oh my God. Diba? Super life-changing ni. Like, it's those kinds of questions, those kinds of reflections that makes you look at life and go like, what if this was different? Yun na eh. I personally feel like the way that I write thrives on that also. Like asking those good questions that make people think or make me also think na, oo nga no, what if life were like this? Oh, Sir Eddie Boy ka rin pala. Yay, okay. Kalasan's babies for life.
She also said that as of when she took his class, he remembers you.
God.
Like he
It's a
said,
big,
oh,
big
Serge,
deal.
of course.
That's such a big honor. And si Sir Eddie Boy Kalasan, he's like, I'll geek out on him for very short ano lang. He was like the valedictorian at his time. And kabatchmate niya si Father Dakanay. So how smart do you have to be to beat si Father Dakanay, di ba? I think he's in France right now also. So God bless his soul. I am the writer and the person I am because of that person. Legit. Because of so many great teachers.
Really. And you will be one too. You are now,
Mm-hmm.
actually. You are now, di ba?
Yeah.
Grabe naman.
Kunwari naman lagi ito na naturuan ako. But really,
Bata ko pa.
yes.
I'll do my
No,
best for my
really.
students. That's the only thing I can think of talaga. That's what my teachers would want.
I'm sure you'll do like more wonderful things pa in the future, in the coming days.
Push,
Oh, yes,
push.
it's coming soon.
Galing. And yeah, hopefully, after this pandemic, like we get to like be like in a classroom talaga and do all the things that we used to do.
Definitely. God. I just want to be able to like hug or shake people's hands.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right?
Soon. God.
Yes, Serge, please, soon.
Oo. I'll message you, my God. Is this... I'll talk to you about it like off this.
Sige. It's funny. Sorry, dito kasi sa script box. Meron kasi dito like, what, this is script kasi you have this question na parang, how are you able to get back to your old hobbies and whatnot? Kaya I just want to share something funny. Kasi one of this, because we all know that parang Serge is like also into like all the sports and health stuff and nakikita naman natin sa stories and whatever. But what they don't know is that, shout out to Albert as well, we had a yoga session with them. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh my God.
We had a yoga session. Tatlo kami. Dito lang din sa condo. And dude, nakatulog silang dalawa. And I'm like, guys, what happened? Are you ready? And it was, I hope we can go back to that.
Someday we'll get to do that again.
But okay, fine.
Stay awake this time.
I'll try. Wait, it's because pinagod kami. It wasn't because like this is boring.
We were mid-practice yun. And then we just rested for a bit with the shabasa and with the corpse pose. And then, oh my God, they're already dreaming.
Oh my God, talaga.
The exposure.
My body is not meant to bend that way. Napagod talaga ako.
Wala pa nga siya sa kalahati. Then sabi ko, sige, let's end soon. And then let's see.
Someday again.
Yes.
Time flies. It's already 6 p.m. But to end,
God, so fast.
Sir Serge, one last question. What's the most valuable lesson you've learned from a student so far? Because we've learned a lot from you, professor or not.
Shocks. Wow, that's a hard question.
These laugh
If I had to answer on the top of my head, it's probably you know how students are so open when it comes to sharing who they are in oral exams, in classroom discussions. It's not something they tell me directly, but I think when I'm a teacher, when I'm being the one leading the discussion, if students are brave enough to share who they are in front of other people, to risk being judged, to risk being thought of in a certain way, I can't help but think na lang as a teacher na I feel like I have to be able to do this for them also. And I think primarily just to end, because it's in the context of a pandemic also, I've witnessed firsthand students share things that are very, very delicate, things that, well, they're not easy topics to be able to talk about. But when they talk about it, they share it so freely and so openly. Not just in private, but within the classroom discussion also. I can't even begin to imagine what it's like to enter this new college setting online and for them to be able to try and forge these real and genuine connections with their blockmates, with their teachers. I can't help but feel like, doesn't this want to help me or make me try to be the best teacher I can be for these students? Yun eh. If mag-e-effort sila, I think it only makes sense mag-e-effort din ako. If these students allow me to teach them, I have to teach them. I have to keep teaching them. Ayun.
Aww. Kami naman yun na speechless.
Yeah.
God. Kala ko naman naghang lang kayo. Joke.
Actually, since we're nearing the end of this, I feel like, okay, I just finished class. I have to write a passport now and submit it by the end of the day.
I miss that so
That's
much. Oh my God. Yung mga online passports, not the same talaga. Ay. Oh God. But someday, I'll get to go back to that. I believe.
Hopefully. Okay, before we say goodbye, we need to thank a few people first. And B, I know you love doing this with me.
Right, okay. I want to thank Austin muna siguro for not being here. Because somehow it's like a blessing na din. It's a silver lining because I get to talk to Serge and our friends in the comment section when kayo sa akin. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. This has been, New Wave. Thank you to James, of course, for being here, handling all the back end stuff. Thank you to Justin for always being so supportive. Thank you to Austin again. Thank you, Max, for, inviting me again to your show.
I always love having you here, B. So to our audience, thank you once again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you all next time. So join us on our next episode on July 21, where we will be joined by a very, very special guest. I can't say who it is yet, but if you want to know, hataw na and follow newwave.rk to find out who it is next week, and like Radio Katipunan's Facebook among other pages to keep in touch. So don't miss out. Like I said, follow us on Instagram. That's at newwave.rk once again. And you can always catch the replays of this episode and our episodes before on Radio Katipunan 87.9 FM's Facebook page, YouTube, and Twitter Live, all of which go by at Radio Katipunan.
All right. And of course, thank you again, Serge. Kahit hindi ako nag-invite. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
Can I shout out lang yung family ko who's watching?
Of course, go ahead.
Oh my God. Hi, Uncle Joel. Hi, Ate Amboy. Hi to my mom who's watching, I think from Subic also. Love you and thank you for all of your support. Tsaka yung office mates ko, my teammates. I'm wearing the office shirt. So go Oski. Wala lang. Shout out to my Binhi fam for always being supportive of everything that I'm doing.
Oh, it was so nice to have you, Sir Serge.
Mm-hmm.
It was great catching up, and I'm glad the two of you had a mini reunion as well.
I know. Next one in person. Oh gosh. Latahan kita.
Hopefully.
Yes, please. Oh, don't forget also to follow Words Anonymous. They have great content, guys. I assure you. Never a dull moment with all of those videos and content. All right. Sige, let's bring it home.
Your favorite.
No, I'm B. I'm just a letter. I will actually catch you later for Shayab Radio. And thank you.
We'll see you there. Once again, this has been your midweek gang who's always ready to hang. That was B. I'm Max, wishing you all a great day, and we'll see you next week. This has been New Wave. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everyone stay safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
If it's entertainment you crave,
Catch us on
New Wave. Surfing through the latest on our shores.
every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m.
See you there.
Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio.